I can change topics. There's about the history of the Iraq War here. There's a transcript in the Spanish newspaper El País that was said to be from a meeting between the President and the Spanish Prime Minister back in February 2003, in which, according to the tapes of this transcript of the conversation, Saddam Hussein offered to step down and go into exile 1 month before the invasion, and the President seemed to think that that was a realistic possibility at that time. Do you believe that this is an accurate transcript?
Well, without commenting on the details or talking about a private conversation between two world leaders and whether or not that happened, if you think back to that time, there were a lot of rumors. There were a lot of people floating ideas around about what may or may not happen. Unfortunately, Saddam Hussein decided to defy the international community. All diplomatic measures ran their course. And what we are focused on now is making sure that Iraq can be a government that can sustain and defend itself and make sure it's an ally in the war on terror for that region.
All right, one more thing on this. The President's quoted in this transcript saying, no matter what happens, we'll be in Baghdad by the end of March. And 3 days after that meeting, Ari Fleischer was at a podium in this room saying the President has not come to the conclusion that the inspections have reached a dead end. I'm wondering if you can marry
I wasn't there for the private meeting that the President had with President Aznar. I don't know what Ari said. I do know where we are now, which is in a position of trying to make sure that the Iraqis have what they need in order to be a democratic force in the Middle East region.
Do stories like that, which you haven't dismissed as inaccurate, negatively impact the perceptions of the President that some may have that he or the White House was on a march towards war in the spring of 2003?
There are some people who think we never should have gone into Iraq to remove Saddam Hussein, and there is nothing we are going to be able to do that's going to change their minds. What we can do is work with the military and the State Department civilians and other department civilians in order to make sure Iraq is the best possible country it can be, one that is sovereign, that has good relationships with its neighbors, and that it's a democracy. So I can't tell you how other people are going to feel about certain things and certain reports, but I just am not going to comment on that transcript.
Is there just a reluctance to sort of go back in time and talk about what happened leading up to the spring of 2003?
No, I think that the record of what happened along that way, and this was Saddam Hussein's record, not the President's. I mean, the President's record is very clear, but also look at Saddam Hussein's record. Somebody who tortured his own people, killed children, tore apart families. Even Human Rights Watch said that this was a brutal dictator who had killed up to 1 million of his own people. This was his record, and I think the President followed every diplomatic measure, went to the United Nations, made a very strong case, and now we are where we are. And we have to focus on making sure that we can improve the situation, which we are doing. Go ahead, Les.
Thank you, Dana. 2 questions.